welcome to my show, Spiritual Warfare. It's Baby Blue and my co-host, Brother Jay. And you see we're in the lovely jazz room. Brother Jay, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me into your home.
Oh, you know, we family.
I know. I'm just saying.
We family. But yes, you are more than welcome.
Okay. All right.
We're going to be talking about, what goes on in the show, word on the street.
Okay.
So you want to give the audience a brief introduction about that?
Sure. I'm Jay Parker with Word on the Street with JP, and we have an she's so silly. And we have an awesome podcast on YouTube. So if you want to follow us, you can follow us on YouTube, Word on the Street with JP. And so you'll see Baby Blue on there a lot. We do a lot of content. And what we do is we talk about faith-based subject matter. It's amazing how the things that happen in the world affect how we treat one another, how we interact on a day-to-day basis. And so that's what the show talks about. So thank you for being on my show too, girl. I'm just saying.
You're welcome, and thank you for being on mine.
My pleasure.
It's a code thing. True, deep, passionate code thing. It's brother and sister.
It's a code thing.
He's big brother. I know that we always start with the word. So what's today's word, Brother Jay?
Today we're talking about, in light of what's happening with our country, it seems that we've taken 15 years back. We've gone 15 years back, and not to cast a stone at our president, but it just seems that the racial divide is getting wider and wider because those things that we thought we outgrew as a nation, we're accentuating them now. And so we want to talk about love and how we should love one another no matter what race or creed or, any of that. It doesn't matter. We're going to be talking about Jonah and his little racial thing that he had going on with the Ninevites. So that's what we're going to talk about, if that's okay with you.
That's fine. I'm down for it. Anything to do with the word, I'm down for it.
You know that Jonah was called by God to preach the word.
Right.
And to spread the word throughout the land. And so he had this one particular assignment, and that was to go to Nineveh. But brother man didn't like the Ninevites for some reason or another, without going into great detail. As he had a problem with God, and so God told him to go left, he went right. And so talking about a racial divide, this racial divide cost Jonah a lot of hardship.
And other people.
He got ingested by a big fish. I'm just saying.
Right.
And ended up doing what he was called to do anyway.
That shows you how merciful our Father is.
Absolutely. It really does. So, yeah, it's kind of funny because we actually have prejudices that aren't obvious or evident, but get upset. And especially if it's someone that's of a different ethnicity, and then that thing will rise up in you. No matter how much you say, I love my brothers and I love everybody and all that stuff, do you really? So this is just an indication when that thing rises up in you that you need to work on your love game.
People will test you. They will really test you. And true love is not when people are being good to you. True love is from within. That means that person it doesn't matter how bad they're treating you. When you still show compassion and care and pray for them and hope the best for them, that's love.
That's love. Christ
is love. Christ, everything that he did and all the way up to his sacrifice is love.
Absolutely.
And yes, we're lovers of Christ, but we still, nobody on this earth can ever amount to that amount of love.
Yeah,
Christ
we can. Yeah, we can only aspire to that level of love because that love is perfect. As a matter of fact, God said that he's love personified. God is love.
Right.
And so why is it that the racial divide, the chasm gets wider and wider when someone of a different ethnic group offends us? The first thing we go to is their race.
Exactly.
Isn't it? Why is that?
It's superiority.
You think so?
It's
inferiority. It's a complex.
True.
Yeah.
Yes, inferiority from within, but wanting to prove that you are superior to the other race when it's like when you're in school and the bullying issue.
Right.
Those bullies feel little of themselves,
right,
which causes you to bring down others. That's hatred of self. Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your hatred for self it opens doors for you not to love.
And that was Jonah's problem. He had an issue with the Ninevites. It was a racial divide that he fostered in his heart, even though we say that we love everyone. And so I'm just going back just for a second. Then that's an issue that we need to face within ourselves, and we really need to stop, drop, and roll. And what is the real definition of love, and how do you act that out in a sincere way? And that's what we have to do as a people, as believers. That's what we have to do. We have to see by Christ's example how we truly love one another. There was a question asked of Christ. If my brother continues to offend me, how many times do I forgive him? And the answer was 7 times 70. And so that means an infinite amount of time. Because we've got to love one another right where we are. So that drug addict cousin that every time you get a shower in your home walks out with a DVD player or a Blu-ray disc or something, you have to know that God loves him just as much as he loves you. And that person won't stay there forever. This is just a chapter in his life. It's just a part of his journey. It's the weight of his cross that we're all called to bear. Yeah. So that's why he tells us to love and not to judge, because you don't even know who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what God can do through taking you through the journey, and as you learn the lessons and come out on the other side of something that he designed for you to be.
Love conquers all.
It does. The word says that. Yeah.
It does.
Love conquers all.
That's one thing that will heal. There's healing in the word, and the word is love. Mm-hmm. It's a product of love because, like we said, God is love. Yeah.
So the word is a person and love is a person. His name is Jesus. I'm just saying. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So what are you dealing with? And every time that you have an issue with a person of another color, is that an issue for you? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And if it is, then you have an issue. You have a love issue.
And I feel it in my heart to say this too. Ladies, I'm going to get with the gentleman in a minute.
Uh-oh, y'all are in trouble.
Look, ladies, I understand that you possibly, and this is for a lot, especially us young women that are of minority. You know, we're told that we're not pretty enough. We're not this. We're not big enough. We're not. None of that matters. What matters is what's in here. Mm-hmm. Be yourself. Love yourself. I know because I was always judged for being small. I've always been small.
And she's still small.
To this day.
Nothing's changed.
To this day. I was only big one time in my life. One time. And that I really don't even count that too much.
It was Thanksgiving Day 1999. I'm just saying. That's too much turkey.
I was 10. But seriously, in all sincerity though, guys, it's not worth it. You're doing all this to yourself just to appeal to other people. Appeal to him. Because at the end of the day, he's not looking at that. You could have half of your face off. He's not looking at that. He's looking at this. And he knows what's in here. You can hide it from us. You can fool Brother JP. You can fool me. You can fool anybody else out here, but you're not fooling him. Absolutely. And he is the most truest friend that you will only have in like situation as far as knowing who you are. Only he knows. Because there's a lot that he knows about you that you don't even know about yourself.
Absolutely.
He told me about myself. I came to accept myself more because he told me about who I am. And if you can't accept yourself, that's what feeds into the hate. So be comfortable with yourself. Recognize your flaws. It's okay. Us as people, we have so much pride. We fear this insecurity of ourselves, and it's almost like if somebody tells us about ourselves and we know it's true and it hits that marrow, that bone, we can't stand it. That's why a lot of people can't take the word, because it's truth. It's love, but a lot of people don't know how to receive tough love. Because yes, the word is loving and kind and it heals the heart. But when you're dealing with a certain spirit, it can also hit that marrow. It's designed to hit that marrow because it's to better you. When you were a baby and you were teething, that didn't feel good, but your teeth were growing. You need teeth so that you can chew, so that you can receive your food. The word is the food. How are you going to chew the word and digest it properly if you don't have the spiritual teething? So think about that. It's okay. You are loved. You are beautiful. I don't care how you look. You could be big. You can be small. You can be short. You can be tall. It doesn't matter. You are loved. And brothers, it's not about having every single female. It's not about every chick every day of the week. It's not about that. It's not about your jewelry. It's not about your cars. It's not about your houses. It's none of that. It's about here. Like I was telling the ladies, it's within here. Guys, you got to understand, don't be afraid to grow. You are hindering yourselves. You don't even know your own capability because you're so comfortable where you are and you're hindering yourself and you are feeding into that insecurity. You can be better and you can do better. The Lord did not create you to be where you are now. He created you to grow. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent Christ. He wouldn't have manifested himself in the form of man and walked this earth and paid the price if we were meant to stay where we are now. We wouldn't even be here if it wasn't meant for us to grow. So just think about that. And before we close, Brother Jay, you want
mercy. I'm like,
just tell him. Just you want you want to tell him how
you felt that. This is like in the city of your soul. That was all.
It's because I'm tired of seeing this same thing over. Yeah. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and we see the arrows of the enemy, and the arrows of the enemy are designed, number one, for you not to love yourself.
Right.
And if you don't love yourself, then you can't do it right. And so we've had really, really bad examples in the past of what love is. Very, very rarely do you see a healthy relationship that's centered around love. And it doesn't have to be a romantic love. You could just be best friends and exude love. I mean, just tolerance and patience. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to get past this, continue the friendship because it's valuable. In our lifetime, I'm in my 50s, and in my lifetime, I can count on one hand friends. I'm kind of old. Friends that truly we shared love together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I call that, I think now, ride or die. It's your ride or die. It's your friend that doesn't matter what you say. Even if it's offensive to them, they always know, yeah, that's just Jay. He didn't mean that. And that's that love is patient, love is kind, love endures all things. And that's that thing. So if you ever want to know if your friend loves you, look up the definition of love. I'm not going to tell you where it is in the Bible. You're going to have to Google it, and that'll inspire you to search it out. Seek out a thing that you may find it. So.
I say ride and die now because that seals the deal. But before we close, you want to give them a brief on how we met?
Yes.
Since we talked
yes. Brad Friday. What's up, Brad?
Yes, that's our boy.
Brad Friday was an intern at WRGN Rain Radio, Sound Feast Media, and the Word on the Street show with JP. He finished his internship, and then he said, yeah, this little chick named Tony said she needed, So you came through. We talked. We're both believers. It was hand in glove. She fit in with our mission. We were ready to facilitate you in your internship. That's where we are today. So now this is my little sister. She's in my life's basket. It's an inside joke, but she's in my basket.
Yep.
So we're pushing each other along this life in each other's baskets. And that's when you know that you've got love.
Exactly.
Yeah. And not old crazy love. Turn into something crazy. Anyway, so it is time for us to wrap, huh?
Yep, it is. Yeah. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we always play. But guys, you have a blessed holiday and don't get too full off that turkey.
Get as full as you can, though.
Not gluttony, though. But we love you.
Thank you so much.